I think people do distrust beauty. Sometimes it can evoke such violent emotions that it's almost unbearable. In your beauty, I mean that in a conceptual way. I'm not talking about physical beauty. I'm just talking conceptually, or spiritually, or creatively, or existentially, or metaphysically. I'm talking about beauty that comes from somewhere else, that comes from, some people like to call it the field. It's God-given. It's a God-given beauty which has nothing to do with what we perceive beauty to be. And I think that's maybe part of the difficulty, because what happens is people start feeling certain things and they start seeing themselves reflected in that light, and they don't like what they see, and they don't like what they do. In a way, me being an artistic person was inevitable. My father was an actor. My mother, when she was younger, was spotted and could have studied opera. I was always raiding my mother's scarves and jewellery and makeup, and we had a treasure box which was full of my grandmother's treasures that I used to sneak and play with. I was aware of my creativity from a very young age. I was always inventing things and creating things, and it was just who I was. It was just the way I was. I just did it. I didn't think about it. So I found school really difficult because it sort of hemmed me in. Sometimes when it was very hot, I couldn't sleep, and I'd go out on the balcony and I'd look up at the stars and at the moon, and I'd imagine that I came from another planet and that I was a queen from that planet, and I'd been sent to Earth to take care of my mother. I thought that I was there to love her, because sometimes life was a bit difficult with my mother. I think people do rush to destroy beauty. I've never really thought about it in those terms. More often than not, they don't realise that's what they're doing. But it's a kind of, I want to be in that light. They want the light, and then they want to be that light, and they want to be saturated in it. I do think there's a link between art and spirituality. I do believe that art is a God-given, and I use God in the broadest sense of the word. I don't mean it in the religious sense. I just mean in the spiritual sense. I do believe that it's a meditative, and I guess that's maybe why some people find it so difficult to accept beauty, because it is a spiritual experience. And that's when it's a bit like taking acid, I suppose, or mushrooms. It kind of takes you to places, and for some people that's terrible. I remember my mother, she had heart surgery. She had open heart surgery, and they put her on morphine. And she said, I don't like it. I keep on seeing things. And it was opening her up, and she was fighting it. I think maybe that's it. Maybe that's the thing. It's because, we're fighting that, aren't we? We're endlessly trying to fight the beauty in each of us. And I suppose those of us who have committed to that, I have no choice in the matter. And till the day I die, I will probably be having to turn my back on art for a little while until, I can stand it no longer, and then I'll step back in and give it my best shot, and, somebody else will be affected by that. But the world created that, and I've just got to go with it. But I want to please, and I want to do, and I can do things, so I always just do more and more, and then people want more and more, and then they add on, and then it gets to the point where I just can't see my way out of it. So I try to turn my back on it, and then I put myself back together, hoping that the next time I'll get it a bit less wrong. But it's all worthwhile, because even if it's just small things, I remember moments where somebody has been touched by something I've done or said, or the way I've made a cup of tea, or the way I've said that particular line, or the way I've written that particular thing, or that card that I've painted, the interior that I might have designed, or the set, or the costume, my fellow actors, or the person I write with. And yes, I haven't understood the responsibility that comes with that, and I haven't understood my beauty. That's so difficult to admit. It's so and then it's very difficult to live by that. Such an interesting journey, and now it's come to a bit of an impasse. And I'm not quite sure what the next step is, but it's definitely going to be something.